Juventus have won 5 games in a row. They have not conceded in something like they said 8 days. They haven't conceded in so long. And they have not conceded at all this season in the last 15 minutes of the game. Juventus defensively have been amazing. And after winning 5 in a row, something we have never done under Pirlo, Juventus sit in third. And depending on the outcome against Lazio, and depending on the game against even that's happening right now between Lazio and Monza, if Monza beats Lazio, Juventus remain in third. Who would have thought a couple weeks ago that we would be 2 points off of Milan right now? And going into the World Cup break with a game on Sunday against Lazio, Juventus could potentially stay in third place. We were imagining sitting for fourth next half of the season. We could be talking about competing for the Scudetto, even though Napoli's flying high. But we won't get to that point right now. And let's just focus on the match today that saw Juventus win against Hellas Verona. However, some questionable referee calling, a penalty that should have been given against Danilo, a penalty that was taken away against Bonucci that was the right call, and a Kean goal that Montipo, whatever the hell his name is, should have saved, and there was a deflection on it. Against a 20th place team, of course Juventus would make it into such a struggle. A couple weeks ago, this is not something we imagined at Juventus, but this is something that after such a horrible game today, and with a howler of a goal against Montipo, Kean's goal against Montipo, that you got to do a little better. I don't know if I should be giving credit to Kean or discrediting the goalkeeper, but this is the typical game from Juventus against a last place team. Verona, 20th place, 5 points on the season. They have 1 win. They held Juventus tied for 60 minutes. Juventus dominated in possession, but Hellas Verona seemed like the team more dangerous on the counter. It doesn't matter though, because all that matters is Juventus got the win. We have 1 more game before we head into the World Cup break, and we couldn't have asked for anything more from this Juventus side, besides obviously qualifying for the Champions League, but we're besides that, and that's already gone. But from this Juventus team going into the break, if Juventus can take 3 points from Lazio, then obviously besides the gap against Napoli, we could seriously start to question whether Juventus can challenge in the second half of the season. Challenge possibly even for the Scudetto. But without getting ahead of ourselves, let's go up against Lazio and we'll see what we can get from that match, because I'm sure Sarri will really want to try to win against Juventus. In reference to this game, it was just horrible. Bonucci with an early yellow card and then later on almost getting a red and sent off. Luckily, VAR came in. But earlier, Danilo gave up a penalty, but they didn't call it. Why wasn't that given against Danilo? But then Danilo's goal against Inter was taken away, yet his arm was completely held by, who was it, De Vrij? Why was that taken away? There are 2 handballs, both with Danilo being involved. One was a goal for him. One should have been a penalty against him. I don't understand. This is what I don't understand, because that really could have been the 1-1. That could have really just made this game like 2 lost points for Juventus. And these are the instances that really make the difference in the game. This is when you have to question VAR. VAR came in good today against Bonucci, but that against Danilo, that should have been a penalty. And to make matters worse, Alessandro got sent off. Going into the Lazio game, I wanted to avoid Bonucci playing. Our best defensive back line is Alessandro, Bremer in the center, and Danilo on the right. Today we started with Danilo on the left, Bonucci in the center, Bremer on the right. That is not the best pairing. And I understand we have to adapt and not all of these players can play every single game. But now because Alessandro got sent off, it's either that or Gatti's playing. We know Bonucci's probably starting. As for talking about individual players, again, I don't see the reason to. Besides certain circumstances and certain individual moments, this team, the performance was not good, but we won. So that's all that I'm taking from it. 5th win, 3 points, third place. Depending on the outcome of the next game, hopefully Lazio loses, we will stay in third. If you like the video, make sure to drop a like, sub to the channel, and like all my other videos, and tell me how much you love me in my comments. But let's get that win against Lazio, okay, on Sunday, because we can solidify third place until after the World Cup. And I think that is necessary because Juventus are still in this title race, even if we're so far off from Napoli, but it's one step at a time. Get that win against Lazio, and then we can really be talking about that Scudetto race.